Hi. Hola.
Hi, here's Mr. Dozy.
This is Michael Bradley.
Hey, I'm Memphis.
Hey.
Hola. Hello.
I'm here with soccer.com.
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 And I'm talking with my friends soccer.com.
See you soon.
Hey guys, Josh from SoccerReviewsForYou.com, bringing you my review of the brand new Nike Attack Premium shin guards. This is a brand new shin guard from Nike that has a retail price of $40 US, so it's essentially double the cost of their very popular $20 to $25 Nike Mercurial Light shin guards that haven't really changed over the last couple of years. And they haven't really needed to. It's a really good value at its particular price point. So is the Nike Attack Premium worth double the price? That's kind of what we're going to talk about in today's video by going over all the tech specs and just sharing my experience with this shin guard in general. One quick note regarding this shin guard. It's labeled as the Nike Attack Premium pretty much on every single website, including Nike's own website. But the actual shin guard itself, as well as on the box, it's listed as the Protega Pro. So I'm not sure if they decided to change the name, but they already had Protega Pro on the shin guard, so it was too late. But just keep that in mind. It says Protega Pro on the actual shin guard, but everywhere that I've seen, it's listed as the Nike Attack Premium, so just keep that in mind. I wanted to clear up a little bit of confusion. If you're interested in a pair, first link down below, it'll take you to the review page on my website where you will find buy it now links for these shin guards and all the currently available colorways, so check that out if you're interested. And with that being said, let's get right into the review. To start things off, let's take a closer look and do a general overview of the Nike Attack Premium shin guards. So as you guys can see, they're pretty cool looking shin guards, at least I think they are. It has a really interesting shape to it, so obviously they are going to be very anatomically fitted in terms of how it wraps your leg, and you guys are going to get a better look at that later in the video when I show me actually wearing the shin guards themselves. But as far as the actual materials that they've used, it's pretty straightforward and not too far off from the Nike Mercurial Light that of course I talked about at the start of the video. So the shell kind of has a somewhat unique design. It's not actually a solid plastic shell. What you're going to find is all the black here is a harder rubber material that kind of acts as a base liner for the actual shell. And then you have all of these plastic inserts kind of in between. They are technically connected. It just thins out in all the areas where you see the black rubber. So essentially what you have here is somewhat of a hinge mechanism, or at least a slightly flexible area of the shin guard directly down the middle. So when I actually squeeze it, you can see it'll buckle right on the actual line there. And that is not by coincidence, it's just because it's thinned out where the little webbing is in black, which is kind of interesting. You would think that as a shin guard, you would want it to be completely solid all the way through, like you do have on the Mercurial Lights, but these do have that element of flexibility, where the positive would be that given that you have a tight enough sock and a tight enough sleeve, that it'll wrap your shin a little bit more easily or even expand a little bit more depending on the shape of your leg. So the fit is actually pretty good given the circumstances of what is a pretty straightforward design. So you have a hard plastic shell with flexibility aspects to it because of this kind of rubberized webbing as the base layer. Now backing the shin guard, as you guys can see, is solid foam. It's a Phylon foam material, which traditionally you would see on Nike's running shoes. So kind of interesting to see it implemented on a shin guard, but it definitely will get the job done. It's solid foam, has some decent thickness to it, as you guys can see by the side profile. And it has all of these little kind of etchings to it. So the little bit of dimension here, because it kind of goes in, as you guys can see, that's basically where your sweat is going to go and basically fall through the bottom of the shin guard. So what's great about a solid foam liner like this is it's not going to absorb any moisture, it's not going to absorb any water, meaning that the shin guards basically aren't going to be wet. They'll dry out in a couple of minutes, or you could just dry them off with a towel, and like I said, nothing's being absorbed into the guard itself, which is really, really nice. Obviously, they are anatomically shaped left and right. Again, not too surprising, kind of a common thing for shin guards. And for those that have a requirement for their league, this does have the NOC-SAE standard stamp. It is certified right there on both shin guards. So like I said, if you have that as kind of a requirement for your league as far as your shin guards go, these do meet those standards, and it does have the official stamp on there as well. So again, design-wise, pretty straightforward, not too far off from the Mercurial Lights, just a slightly different shape. It does have that flexibility aspect to it as well, and these are slightly larger as far as coverage is concerned, which you guys will see a little bit later in the video. In terms of weight, the Attack Premium shin guards are about as light as pretty much anything else in this price range and with this style of design, meaning a plastic shell with a foam backing. So I'm going to weigh them for you today in real time using this scale just so you can see exactly how light they are. Keep in mind that this particular pair is in brand new condition and a men's size large. So we're going to throw them on the scale, and you can see that they weigh in at 3.15 ounces, the equivalent of 89 grams. So again, pretty much in the same weight range as about everything else in this particular category that's this size with this type of design that provides the same level of protection. So they're not going to feel heavy by any means. They do have some bulk to them, so that's definitely worth noting. But for the most part, if you're looking for a light pair of shin guards, these will provide that lightweight feel. Included with the shin guards are, of course, a set of sleeves to hold them up, given that they don't have any straps. You don't have to use the sleeves, but it definitely is recommended to help hold them in place. And really, these are pretty unexceptional. It's pretty much the same shin guard sleeve that Nike has been using on their $40 and below price range for shin guards for as long as I can remember. And they're just not that great. They'll get the job done for the first 2 or 3 weeks, but after that you'll start to notice that they pretty much overstretch or just remain stretched out, and the actual compression you get even from brand new just isn't that good. It's a thin mesh material. It is elasticated, of course, but when it is actually at full stretch, you can see it has all these little perforations, which is great for breathability, but not so great as far as durability is concerned. If you do take any kind of major shot to the actual shin, while you do have a sock in front of the sleeves themselves, there is a pretty good potential for the sleeves to actually rip, and like I said, overstretch in certain spots, just making them less and less effective. There is a seam going down the back of the sleeve, as you guys can see, and it does have kind of an elasticated I guess, end to the sleeves themselves on either side. But again, they're sleeves. They'll get the job done for the first little bit. But these are sleeves that honestly I would anticipate replacing after a month or two, if not sooner than that, depending on what your preferences are. And really, this is the type of shin guard that, unless you're using an aftermarket sleeve that is a little bit better, you're probably going to end up using tape to hold your shin guards in place. So just keep that in mind. These aren't terrible sleeves, but it's kind of what you can expect from most shin guards in this price range and any sleeves that get included with those. All right, so here is a look at the shin guards. You can see that on my left leg, I have it just with the sleeve, so you can see what that looks like. And then on my right leg, I have it with an actual soccer sock plus the sleeve underneath. Fit-wise, they actually fit really well. You definitely notice the flexibility of this particular design versus the standard and cheaper Mercurial Light model. It definitely has a more solid shell to it, so the shape is very much predetermined. So unless they fit you perfectly, it's possible that they're too narrow or a little bit too wide, and there's nothing you can really do to change that. Where this will close up a little bit and open up a little bit depending on if your shin is wider or narrower. So the fit is actually really, really good. As far as the shape is concerned, I'm wearing a size large shin guard here. I'm about 5'11", just as a reference. Large is pretty much what I wear in pretty much any brand of shin guard. And again, in comparison to the Mercurial Light, they definitely have a little bit more length to them. Basically, you have an extension piece here, and it feels like it extends a little bit lower as well. And of course, with these shin guards that obviously come with shin guard sleeves, you can choose to wear them a little bit higher or a little bit lower depending on your personal preference. I personally like to wear them a little bit higher just to keep any kind of bulk away from my foot as well as my ankle. As far as bulk is concerned, obviously they do have some thickness to them. That's the case with most shin guards, especially in this particular price range. But they fit really well. They fit pretty comfortably. They don't feel heavy by any means. And I like the fact that they do have that little bit of kind of adjustability to them in that the design isn't a 100% solid shell. Does that take away from the protectiveness of the shin guard? Yes, to a certain extent it does. But again, there's always trade-offs with any kind of product, and you get a little bit better fit for the sake of a little bit less protection. But overall, these definitely do feel like relatively protective shin guards, given that they are still a smaller style shin guard. All right, guys, that is it for my review of the Nike Attack Premium shin guards. So ultimately, is this worth double the price over a pair of Nike Mercurial Lights? For most people, I would say no. The Mercurial Light is just as good. It features pretty much all of the same elements and arguably has a stronger shell. The main reason why you would want to spend the extra money on this particular pair is, one, It does offer a little bit more coverage. It's a larger shin guard overall, both side to side as well as lengthwise. And also, the second reason why you might want to spend the extra money on these is I would argue that these do fit a little bit better. While the flexibility of the shin guard does take away a little bit from the solidness of the shell in general, and of course takes away from the protectiveness, it does offer a slightly better fit, or a more customized fit, I should say, in that it does have the ability to open up or close up depending on the size of your shin. So they will fit you a little bit better than a pair of Nike Mercurial Lights that, like I said, doesn't have that same ability to kind of expand and contract to the shape of your leg. So overall, it's a very, very good product, even at the $40 price point. So it really does depend on your own personal preferences and what you're looking for in a pair of shin guards, but definitely a pair of shin guards that I can strongly recommend if you have a $40 budget or so, and this is kind of something that you're interested in. So again, if you're interested in a pair of these for yourself, first link down below, go ahead and check it out. It'll take you to the review page on my website, where you will find buy it now links for this particular shin guard in all the currently available colorways. If you guys are confused about anything at all, or just have any questions at all regarding this particular shin guard, leave them down below in the comments and I definitely will get an answer out to you. If you enjoyed today's video, found it helpful and informative, be sure to support it with a like. Subscribe if you haven't already for daily videos on all the latest and greatest soccer gear. You can find all my social media information linked in the description as well. And other than that, guys, hope you enjoyed today's video, and as always, thanks for watching.